without further ado, I'll get going, and then when Alexei joins us, he's not coming. Okay, well, apologies for third panelists, but regardless, welcome to this side event where it's an interesting. We'll open up conversations and excuse me, a bit challenging the traditional way, even though we're going to talk about innovation. So we're going to talk about the paradox of marketing AI for mine actions. Quick intro. My name is Azadine Nujahan, and we're supposed to have two panelists. Shahab Moini is here with me. We were going to present two ways of dealing with mine actions. Alexei is not going to join us, unfortunately, for other issues. But regardless, so Shahab Moini and I represent Subsphere Corporation based in Switzerland and in Canada. We're mostly involved in AI integration with use of unmanned systems for partly mine applications or landmine clearance and so on, with a different perspective. And that's kind of what we bring in here for the challenge. But without before we get into the details of this is more of an engagement participation and would like kind of more of a conversation level, even though we're going to put slides just to set the tone. The first thing I'm going to do is just get you into feedback questions. If you have, I'm sure you all have phones if you want to address this. The question is, what would be your immediate reaction if presented with a model, an AI model for anti-mine personal recognition at 99% accuracy? So you can go there and enter the code, and you'll see the questions. Oh, I'll have to go and show the results in a minute. So give you about a minute or two. Will you be optimistic, or will you distrust, essentially? Oh, sorry. Okay. You can leave it there for a minute. Yeah, you can scan the QR code or go to menti.com and enter the code.
So what you're doing, as you see, has become a trend, especially since the Ukraine war started, that many groups, companies, education institutes come out with the idea of using AI and solving problem of all kind of the landmines, UXO, IEDs. So our main focus on is about how applicable, how accurate, and how ethical is the application of the AI in this type of the domain.
Everybody got a chance? We'll let it for another minute or two. But yeah, like Shahab said, the objective of this conversation and this event is to get a conversation going. How much do we trust AI? Is it is it the right tool? I personally come from a background of building and construction, and where we use the technology to advance and create efficacy and efficiency. But when it is different when you're dealing with buildings or infrastructure, and when you're dealing with humanitarian and the risk associated with that. So how much stress do we put in there? We'll leave this for a minute, and then just kind of to pull on the results. I guess I'll have to do a little
while you're
switch.
checking the site, is right now there are two conversations going on. One is about the AI as a tool or AI as a solution. Most of the marketing discussion is about the AI as a solution, which create a lot of question, concern, and even ethical, moral reaction and concern about presenting AI as a solution to the UXOs and the landmine contamination.
Well, for some reason, you see how much reliance on technology we have. The results link is not showing here.
Do you need to log in or something?
Well, I am. Should be. No, it's thinking about it, but I don't get any results. In any case, we'll just.
Okay, continue.
Let's see if I can share it later to all the audience. Oops. Go back in here. Shit. This does. There we go.
Yep.
let's move on. My
The other
apologies.
one, yep.
It's not going. Do you do control? You go ahead and do it. Where's the? All right. Thank you. You want to go ahead?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, so the talk is going to be about that paradox of using AI in mine actions. In terms of the agenda, we're going to put like a quick statement of where we're at and why it is important to use or how to deal with it, given the humanitarian risks that we have with so many mines being put on the ground. As we clear one, we have 3 or 4 or more put on the ground. And then talk about a little bit on the accountability. The issue is about accountability and how, at the end of this kind of talk, we'll have some, I guess, recommendations, and we'd like to discuss with this group what is the real path for the use of technology, use of innovation, use of AI into mine actions with considerations of either guidelines, standards, or where we restore a bit of the accountability, the human oversight, right? It's easy to use technology and say, well, it's reliable and we can use it perfectly to do everything. But at the minute we remove the accountability or the oversight from the human person, the brain, their real brain as we call it, we lose a little bit on, okay, is this really ethical or what is the moral around it? And kind of that's the opening path to the conversation. So Shahab, you want to take over from here about the missions and yeah,
Yep,
there you
sure.
go.
So as I explained and we discussed about it, AI been introduced as a solution in many session groups in the real field, and then we see the result is not what we are thinking and what we expect. Unfortunately, the marketing aspect of the AI, we believe, lack moral and ethical approach. We have done research on the AI and the landmines since 2011 in Canada, and we spend a lot of time, money, and human resources, especially to work on that one. So it's not something new. The first AI we developed was 2018. Before that, it became so popular everywhere, but we never brought it up because it is just a tools with high level of uncertainty. So when we look at the humanitarian aspect of the landmine and the disastrous impact of it, there is no need to go to the details. As a developer, as a scientist, we have to look at it that if we come up with a solution, when we express that AI is a solution, are we transferring the risk to the civilian and put the human life in danger just for marketing of our technology and without considering what will be the impact and ethical aspect of it? There are millions of the land masses increasing, unfortunately, in many countries, even moving out of the Ottawa Treaty, and that causes more problem, more complexity. We have all kind of the compromised mine, and even homemade IEDs that is increasing. So the field is changing while the technology is improving as well. When it comes to the accountability and decision making solely based on AI, we have to be very careful. We have done tests more than 300-400 hours in the control test field, and the result is extremely variant, and we have a lot of false positive, false negative, depends on all kinds of the condition and factors from weather, humidity, ambient air, aerosol level in the area, and that was a test that was done in a very specific control area, not in the closed area, but we consider every single weather condition aspect, humidity, even soil chemical aspect, and perform the test. And that's why we never market our solution or technology as a solution. It is just a tools need to be used by the specialists who have years of hands-on experience. That is very important. Get the feedback from them, and then we develop the integration through the very specific restricted form of the training matched with IMS standard and the other practices by the mine action. So a lot of tools that we see when you ask them that, is your system based on the IMS? standards. Unfortunately, many, they haven't heard of it. They haven't went through hundreds of pages of the standard that have been developed through years of experience, trial and errors, even casualties and the loss of the human life to develop that safety standard and procedure. So that is one of the main issues we see in the AI tools. About the transparency and effectiveness of these tools, marketing, it look like money over moral. Many promises, a lot of false positives or false negative, but we try not to talk about it. 2 years ago in same conference in Ukraine, when I was presenting, I didn't put up our technology out there as how good it is, what it can do. I had 2-3 slides and said, that's a problem cannot be solved. Working with about 50 students and researchers for 6-7 years. We don't have answer to this question because scientifically at this level is not possible. Even if it's possible, we have to go through a lot of rigor and re-examination of every approach to make sure the system is working. Otherwise, that's not ethical for us to say. So rather than marketing it, we come up with our question and ask help. And that's what I think the AI developers and those ones who present AI as a solution have to take seriously into consideration. So most of this innovative approach has been done in the controlled lab test area, synthesis process in the virtual reality environment, and when it comes to the field, most of them failed because, first, they don't have a first-hand field experience. A lot of developers haven't seen even landmine, haven't worked even in the military before, and haven't been in this type of approach. So when they go to the reality of the field, on the minefield, they notice that it's not functional, it's not what they expected, and it's not just a mine is available everywhere that they can see, and it's easy to detect. For example, without naming any group, you have seen some technologies look like a wheelbarrow, and it's an AI-based system with a camera really mount under the wheelbarrow, and you walk to the minefield and they advertise it. So those ones who have been in the minefield, nobody will do that, to just push a wheelbarrow into the minefield and process the data because there's a camera under it or sensor. They're all what we have to be careful when we look at the stuff. And standards, which standard do we use? It's just a standard for our own company, our own research lab, our own even mine action group. We have seen mine action activities in different parts of the world. I work in Africa, Middle East, Far East Asia, and Ukraine. So we see there are different mine action standards practically on the ground. So we have to be aware about that one. Are we close to that? Do we meet that type of the standards? Or is it applicable for our system or not? Come to the ethical risk. So if we talk about AI as a solution, who is going to accept the responsibility of any danger that we pose to the civilian or to the deminers by using our tools without having high level of certainty that is applicable and practical? And a lot of companies try to shift the risk to end user or not talk about the risk. When we come out and we say that, yep, that's solve the problems. Excellent, solve the problem. We are living in the age of AI, and that's why we create all the images with the AI. We can do a lot of things. These days, you can write an article with the AI, put the picture, graph, and everything. If you know about the topic, possibly in 2 days, it's nicely done. And we did some tests in one of the publications. We published the article, all AI, and passed. So that's the problem we have these days. And those ones who check it, they possibly open the solution or the code you send to them in an AI and ask them, can you process the tools? Can you process these codes and find any issue? So that human rigor as a subject matter expert is missing. And which type of data we put there? We receive about 70 type of the data collected by the drones from the minefield in different areas. And out of this 70 set of the data, only 2 of them was following and matched with the photogrammetry, scientific perspective, and practical perspective of photogrammetry for any mapping. The rest was just taken as a hobbyist who fly the drone and take some picture without any consideration of the fundamental specification, technical, scientific that you have to follow. And surprisingly, many of the companies use that data and come out with the result that we found the mine, when It's very difficult to even think about how it's possible scientifically. So we have to be very careful what we put into the system, what will be the output. And that is a very important aspect to take into consideration. We did tests on a couple of results that defined the landmine accurately, and we noticed later by processing the data, unfortunately it was form of the Photoshop, and they plant the mines there. About the errors. How much do we know about the errors we create by creating AI, or AI create by use of lack of or understanding of the whole processing of this AI? It's a very new field. And most of the companies do not have access to the complexity processing devices and power that, for example, they use in military or intelligence service to process a thing. It's different if some intelligence service group processes the AI than a company somewhere sitting with a server on Amazon or something process the data. So the level of the accuracy, the level of processing, and as a result, error change. And we have always these marketing tools. It's cheaper, faster, easier, and safer. Based on which standard, who review it, who come out with this information, who validate the information. Did we send it to the rigor test center that please review and tell us where it doesn't work? We're always looking for confirmation that how good is our system rather than how bad is our system. That is how it helps us to improve the system. So we have right now a big gap between certainty and uncertainty of the result. The marketing person, they want to sell the products. But we have to look at the ethical and moral consideration of it. How much does it worth to send something to the hand of the deminer, let's say just deminer, that they play with their life on daily basis, and give them a certainty that this system, as a tools even, is functional? How do we know that? How many times, how many of these AI people always said, please ask the people who are presenting about the AI, are you a deminer? Have you worked in military? Have you been in the minefield? Did you do anything in the mine, close to the minefield? Did you work with the victims? And that's important to understand. So, type of mistake, false positive, false negative, I don't go to the detail of them. They are all type of the errors and mistakes that we have. And of course, there is a cost of redoing the processing, capturing the data, find out what is it, and there is another cost, human cost, moral cost, and damage that this type of the uncontrolled presentation of the AI can create for the future if this system is really functional and working. So we have to be aware about it, not to lose the confidence of the end user to the new technologies and create a resistance to our technology if they use it a couple of times and then it's not functional or it causes damage to human life. It's very rational to put that information aside. So that's what we see the reality of the minefield, and the minefield that most of the AI models created or developed. This is a real minefield. You can see this one in Afghanistan, been in South Sudan, Afghanistan, Iraq, Sri Lanka, Colombia, all the places you go. You don't see that. You cannot distinguish is a minefield or is not a minefield. So you walk there, and then when you go to the AI test site, it's very nice, chic, like a restaurant with a spoon and fork, and you know the plate is here, the rest is there, and that's how we approach this process. This is not the right way. If we want to do it, we have to classify it. How many type of landmine do we have? And it's a question I ask always from the AI developer. How many type of the landmine visually, physically, ethically, culturally do we have? You have been in Afghanistan, walking the Turabura mountain or any area that you're walking beside hundreds of different butterfly mines, you don't see them. You go to Iraq and Iran border, you see an area that erosion put all the mines out, and then you go to the Majun Island, close to Iran and Kuwait and Iraq, you don't see anything. It's a marshland. And depends. Dry season, you have landmine. In the rainy season, it's a marshland. And you cannot see. But the local people hit the mine. That is wrapped into the weeds that grow up there and surface, and then the boat hit that thing. So they are the reality of it. And we have to be very aware about that. So,
You can skip this one.
yeah, we can cross.
Although I can share the results from
Yeah.
I have them on a different screen, unfortunately I couldn't display. But to the first question, I can see that the majority, and in fact it was to this question, if you have a model with 95% accuracy, what's the most important part? And for majority of you, you rely on an exploration of or why, right? So you want to validate that primarily. It's 6 from the respondents that we had earlier, 262 for the question. So it is interesting that there is that need for validation of the AI model. So keep going, and then we can continue the conversation later.
So, accountability. That's the most important part for any new technology come up. How we can check the accountability and make it clear that this technology, this new method, these new tools is valid. So this is a reality of the Demining group or IDG group in Ukraine, Kharkiv area. This is the environment they are working. So you take your AI, any type of the AI, and then I've seen they come out with the data, we found the mine. How do you find the mine in this kind of frozen land? If you go 5, 10 kilometers, even 2 kilometers away, you can hardly see the deminer, which is possibly 180 centimeter human being standing there working, and then the people come out, we found the butterfly landmine here. How? Who validated? How did you capture the data? How was the parameters that you put into place? Which type of sensor? Which of the setup? What was the almanac? I asked sometime from the people, what was the almanac that day you were flying? And the eyes get round. Almanac. Yeah, how did you do the checking of your GPS that your accuracy is 2 centimeters right now? Did you have an RTK on the ground? Did you use a ground station setup? They haven't heard of it. So that's a problem that we have in the AI field. So if there is a result, at the end it have to go to the expert, like the person that you see in the picture with years of experience, and he look at it. If he confirm it, then that's a valid information. And the confirmation is he or she had to walk into the field based on the data you give it to them, and then very carefully, nothing has changed from the approach of the mining. You go slowly forward and just check. It's just extra information you have. It's not a solution that's a mine, take it, problem is solved. And it's important that we need to have some parameters in place, some factor in place, that the subject matter expert keep the right of saying absolutely no, this result is not reliable. We see this huge wave and move towards fascination about AI. AI can solve anything. Okay. And if somebody say no, then we'll be attacked. Oh, you're back in the outdated time and the Stone Age. No. The subject matter expert on the ground have to have the right within the standard to say no to the result. And the no doesn't need so much reporting or complication to say no. The issue is that this result is not reliable based on our years of experience, and we cannot just walk into the field. And this field intuition is another aspect we have to take into consideration. AI cannot feel. AI doesn't get tired. AI doesn't think about the husband, wife, child, and family behind when you are sitting on your knee and dealing with the mines. So you cannot rely on that stuff. The human emotion is important. Sometimes you have to choose which of this mine I'm going to deactivate. AI have no feeling about it, and it's not. We've been in this field, in academia, in the business-wise. We never promote anything there. AI can do what human is doing. The human factor, the human intuition, and field intuition. This feeling you have, working on -20 in the minefield or +45 in Sudan or 55 in Chad, then you know how much error a human who make AI can make. So think about your system. And a lot of these systems have this complexity of not being applicable in the field. I give you a sample. I was in Sudan with ICRC and Darfur, 3 years. A very complex water purification system was sent there that this is a genius, latest, best type of the technology ever created for purifying the water. Excellent. my first question, how does it work? Just plug it in and work. So we don't have electricity here. When you come here, you get 20-liter kerosene. This is for your 1 month and an oil lamp. And I have to buy a bicycle, put a dynamo from an old machine to run the bicycle. With friends, charge a laptop to write monthly report that we have to prepare. So they send this thing to the field, like AI, 5G AI. Okay, good luck. You go to Afghanistan, 5G AI, definitely available with the Swiss quality. They are the thing that we build AI on it. So we have to be aware of this field intuition and how we can easily say no. There are many aspects that we can say no, that system is not applicable. And regulatory guidelines. This is important. We have to follow standards. We have to follow standards and experiences of the subject matter expert. GICHD, IMS, mine action groups in different parts of the world, they build up the standard. They are adding to the standard. We are dealing with the new type of the complex form of the landmines and explosive material. We have to cross-check. I believe AI should be, at the end, if it's applicable, an open source platform that every regulatory bodies and mine action group have the eyes on it, have access to it, have subject matter expert in the coding to check this thing that is it correct or not. That when it becomes reliable. If a company said, is our system, ask them that I want to check your code. Oh, we cannot give you. Is our company IP. What does it mean? And if this IP kills some people, is company going to pay billions of dollars as a fine for putting the human life in danger or at risk? That's all the legal aspect that have to be taken into consideration. So there is no land release with AI. We need still human final signature on this thing. There is no robot, there is no AI, there is no system that can be even claimed, is even close to experience of the mine action. We try to mimic human behavior and say, okay, so humanoid, we can find landmine. A good sample, if you want to test us what we did when they come with the technology, we just took them to the empty area, but was flagged landmine, real landmine, test area, but real landmines. Okay, you think your system work? You're most welcome. Just go and do it. Find the mines and go and remove them. Nobody. A step 1 meter into the area. Because, so what happened? Why you are not sure about the result? You said your robot can go, but the robot's $100,000. So why you don't send it to bring the mine back? They don't do that. It's like, sometime with the First Nation in Canada, the water was contaminated. One of the mining company claimed the water is absolutely clean. They have the lunch for all that CEOs, invite them, and when they want to assess it, just by the way, all the water is from the same river that you said is clean. Nobody touched it because they know what is there. So the mining organization, Mine Action, GICHD, IMS, they have to retain the legal and the moral liability through putting the responsibility on the technology developers. So I'm not a legal expert, but that should be the process that it had to happen in this way. If somebody comes with the idea, if somebody comes with the tools, so there must be a mechanism that they be held accountable. Even in a very early stage of the testing, when you come and use the resources and take the time of many specialists and the field that are available, you go there, they should have some accountability. It's not just I'm here playing with my toys and my tools to see does it work or not. How confident you are about the result? What was the procedure you went through it? Did you check this stuff? Did you check the morality, legality, ethical aspect of these tools that you created? Did you went through the ethic committee to look at it? Is it the right things to do? Can you do that? This had to be taken seriously into consideration. And this black box, which we see anybody, we are a black box. We have AI tools named Demining, register officially been in place since 2018. Anybody is interested to use it free of charge, you don't need to pay. I will be very happy to create an account for you. Go and check anything you want. And we are not selling it, we are not asking anybody that is a solution. Just check and see what we do not understand. So it's not a black box. If a solution is a black box, it's for aviation after you crash to just read what we made a mistake.
Yeah.
And where we made a mistake without telling anybody.
Keep
And
keep going. Yeah.
pardon?
No, keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just faster.
So this AI is used as a combination of different technologies. We have autonomous system, we have remote sensing system, we have algorithm, and we have computer scientists who put these things together. And now everybody can say, okay, I'm an AI and machine learning specialist. But there is a connectivity between different this field. You see, most of the time you ask from the AI group, who is your deminer who understands drone photogrammetry or AI or programming? Almost hardly any. And said, oh, we have a deminer experience, what does he do? We show him the picture that we capture and say, yeah, it's a mine. But that person has a background, or vice versa. Have you tried to become an EODA certified person first? Have you been through the IMS standard, that couple of 100 pages, and read them all before you start programming on ChatGPT a code, develop a code to detect pattern detection? And it's so easy. I can send anybody interested how to develop your AI detection system. Go through ChatGPT and find things around your home. Find my cop, find my dog, find my husband, for my wife. You can find all these things. It's possible, but it's landmine. So, and we have to look at this section, the skill fade risk. How much we are aware about it, and how much we try to go against the traditional demining that has been developed through years and years of sacrifice, experience, and hard work. And is it ethical even to do that? We have to be able to go and accept to test the testers. We have to have this mindset that the new technology not only need to be tested, then we have to figure out what was the testing procedure. Right now, there is no standard testing procedure for any of this system. We ask them, so what's the parameter for photogrammetry you use for anything? It can be RGB. What's the parameter of capturing data with a magnetometer, with the GPR? I've seen a lot of GPR out there, GPI data, AI-assisted GPR mine detection system. Those ones who are GPR and the geophysics expert, they know that GPR has at least 30 different factors that can cause false positive error in an extensive range that is not easy to control. So we need to be aware of all that stuff before we step forward and claim something is possible. So, and we have to look at the repetitiveness of the technology. Can we repeat the same procedure, the same process in different fields by integrating a subject matter expert to look over our shoulder and give us a certainty that just the data capturing process is right? I'm not talking about the processing, data capturing process. For the last 4 years, 90% of the data we receive is not captured properly. And very basic elements. Person have the GPR, he's not a geophysicist, put the GPR under a rover, under the drone, fly somewhere, come out. That is the data we found some anomalies. So this anomaly can be anything. And the person who is not a GPR expert doesn't even notice in some of the airborne GPR, your drone need to hover for minimum 15 to 20 minutes, depends on the type of the GPR, to adjust the GPR parameter based on the location and the environment it is. And then after 20 minutes, the data is reliable when it captured. The result, I don't know. The data is captured properly. And then they have the DJI drone flying 45 minutes. With the GPR, it fly maximum 25 minutes. So they fly 25 minutes and they land and they give you 25 minutes of the GPR data. The first 20 minutes is like when you are doing the ECG on the heart. It's useless. You let all these things go. We use the GPR data with a machine, $1.2 million helicopter, turbojet engine flying 5 hours, carrying 50 kilo. So we did the GPR data with that, and the result was in a way, finally, after 500-600 hours of tests, that still we cannot even talk about. Is it a possible solution or not?
Go to the conclusion. Yeah, go to the conclusion,
Yeah.
I guess. What's the path? and then we can open conversation.
Excellent. So we go to the accountability chain from the developers to end user, and at the middle, we have the regulatory bodies. Somebody should accept the accountability or distribute or regulate the accountability of all this new technology through the whole process. I think the end user is the last one, except they say, oh, that is good, we approve it, you go, and then they have a problem. That's different. But we have to find out who is accountable, what's the chain of the command in this accountability process, and then integrate different multidisciplinary oversight into this process. Feedback loop is very important, that we get direct feedback loop and feedback from subject matter experts, regulatory bodies, end user, and the community as well. As you see in the AI processing, community is totally missing. You don't find anybody. So did you talk with the people on that region? Are they happy you fly this drone 24/7 at top of their herd of the cows or the animals that they have? Is it something even talk or taken into consideration?
Yeah.
Transparency and standard is another thing. We cannot hide. We cannot have a black box. That's dangerous. That's unethical, and it's not moral to present. I don't want to go to that much details about it. When I believe at this level, we have to be very careful about the ethical aspect of marketing AI as a tools and a solution for landmine or UXO detection. We can get to the marketing trap, money over moral, and we see, unfortunately, a lot of groups go there, and then they end up to the defense system. They come to the mine action group, and then they find defense contract and defense technology, because it can be reversed easily for that. So we have to be careful about that part. So AI can seriously jeopardize the safety and the operation of the real mine action people and the mine expert in the field. Can cause damage to the trust of the new technology, can create resistance to the new technology, and we need to be careful, and somebody have to regulate this path to make sure we are in a right approach, not passive, right approach to the new technologies. Talk about that black box stories, so try to avoid them. Which slide are we?
Keep going, keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go to the conclusion, I guess, to
So
open the
for the
conversation.
donor and the founder, we have to be careful. Special donors should be careful if they want to support any AI tools or development. They have to have a group of experts from the mine action, IMS, and the other groups that understand it very deeply before they put their money there, because they can help the defense industry through that things. And transparency. Go ahead then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, how do we move forward with this, right? And that's the path forward.
So to get the system wrap it up, we need humanize, we need experience, we need field tests, we need real-time data capturing, processing, validation, and through the whole process, somebody legally, ethically should monitor the process as a non-biased expert. It can be scientific or a group of scientific people, a group of the mine action people, and subject matter expert in EOD. Then the result can be even reached to the level to be presented as a possible solution. Before that is a dangerous path to take. So from technology first to the human first, that's another big issue around. We see this trend. Everybody said technology is here to solve the problem. Who developed the technology? Who used the technology? How did we use the technology? What was the purpose of using the technology? Still, human is the first, and we have to look at it. Then we can validate the AI, and field validation is the most important part. Lab validation, good. Not enough, not efficient, and I believe not ethical. In lab, you can simulate all the best conditions to do the AI. So, and after that, when something is ready to go to the market, which will be a long process, how we keep our eyes through the upgrade, development, integration of the new technologies into it, and who will have the eyes on that to make sure ethical aspect is embedded into this. So,
There we go.
yeah, I just want to wrap it up, or we have some time for question if you need. No black box, no genius ideas that is mine and nobody knows. It had to be shared, it had to be open, it had to be accessible for the end user. We highly recommend, even we are the technology developer, and again, we are not selling anything, we are not promoting anything, but don't accept just a black box and go to test it, and it's nice, flashy, nice website, give you the report, mathematical report, statistical report, and all this thing. If you get it, send to subject matter expert. There are a lot of scientific group, professor, research lab that can qualify the data that you receive, the report that you receive. We have seen the report sent from some of the AI system, and you look at the mathematical report, it is just AI generated, has absolutely no rigorous, scientific rigorous. So we have to be careful about this. And safety first. Is our technology safe? And who give us the safety pass? I work in aviation, the drone technology as well. Anything you add to the big drone, I'm not talking about a small drone, something like a real helicopter that fly unmanned. Everything you add a GoPro inside this, you have to get a certification from the aviation expert, because somebody knows if you add a small piece to this airplane, it can change the whole aerodynamic of the airplane. This is the same thing with the AI. How do you know that if you put another model into this, that model is going to work properly? Who confirm it? Who is the body to do the testing certification and give you the license? Yeah, you're right, you go. So that was our conclusion. Be careful about AI. Thanks for your time, and if you have any question.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello, my name is Iraklis from Macau University of Science and Technology in China. Thanks a lot for your presentation, it's super interesting. I mean, I did my PhD 10 years ago, and I remember when I started using AI and machine learning, my sponsors at that time were very angry because of the reasons you just described. So the same reasons that you talked about today existed 10 years ago. So with machine learning, I think that the first thing that we have to do is we have to be very brutally honest. And as such, we should not talk about it as AI. We should say this is machine learning, and specifically this is a specific model. So if the model is convolutional neural networks, we should say that this is a CNN, this is a random forest, because AI makes it sound a bit more exotic than it actually is. And I think the second thing is every model has to be interpretable, the output has to be probabilistic, and for me the most important, because I have used AI and machine learning for oil and gas and some very high risk applications, every time somebody gave me a machine learning solution, so I wanted to see the data that this machine learning was trained. So if I don't have the data, I don't trust machine learning, because machine learning can work very well on the data it was trained, and then it fails tremendously in out of distribution. So do you think something like this can be achievable in landmine detection? Like if somebody, to have a regulatory, a law that says if you have a model, you need to show the data as well. Because if I don't see the data, I cannot trust the model. Do you see something like this is possible?
Thanks a lot for your comment. I'm happy that the AI specialist is here. So we both know a lot of what you see AI is not AI, is a machine learning, and a lot of that, even machine learning, is just a programming, simple programming. When the AI trend started, a lot of programmers become AI specialists. And you can go and see, CEO of this company can have a Master of Business Administration and AI specialist. Last 2 years as an AI specialist. So definitely, the data should be available. The code even should be available, I believe, if you want to use it. You work in the oil and gas. We did some research in the oil and gas in Canada with the big oil and gas company. You know how is it? Because they count every single dime and nickels when they spend something. Then you come up with the AI model or anything that, okay, you want to monitor your upgrader to see what's the corrosion level in it with the AI and the drone and the robot. They want you really bare naked. They want to go through every process, because if one thing goes wrong and the operation is stopped for half a day, it's $20 million damage to the production line. We have to have the same procedure. It's a human life. Maybe somehow it doesn't have much value when it counts with the money that is touchable.
It depends where, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Access to the data, access to the code, and access to the whole process, and analysis, mathematical, and the rigorous statistical error processing report that can be validated. definitely.
I think the short answer to your comment and question is transparency, full transparency of what is being offered, whether it's the model and the data. And I completely agree with you. Yes, if you don't have the data to validate and check, what is it that you're offering? Yeah, great point. Anything else? Anybody else? Or questions or comments? Follow up?
Thank you very much.
Well, if
oh,
none,
sorry.
yeah, go ahead and follow up.
Can you outline, can you tell us if machine learning actually works in demining? Is it, for example, you mentioned GPR. Is there any machine learning model for GPR that works to some extent? Is machine learning useful in demining currently?
I can tell you my own experience. I have about 20 students working on this machine learning. And we develop our own AI. We didn't use a chat GPT. It was like 5-6 years ago we started. We tested 6-7 different type of the GPR. We work with the manufacturer. The result is absolutely unreliable. So, very clear. We published even some paper about it. The variance and the factor that affect and impact the outcome of the GPR is extensively wide and you cannot control. On the drone-based GPR, we identified 36 different factors, just environmental factor, that can change your result from 88% accurate reading in the same area, in the same location, the following day with a little bit of the weather changes to 1%. So, no, it's not reliable. I don't know anything. At this level, we don't know anything. And if you know anyone is working on that, I would be very happy to look at the result.
There are so many factors affecting the accuracy of the data that you get out of it that, you know, you really have to be really cautious and careful before coming up to a conclusion. So, yeah.
Especially on the drone. If it's on the drone, depends. You are using electrical drone, so you have to take care of the electromagnetic pulse that you create through the motors. If you are using the jet engine or the combustion engine on the drone, there are some impact. Ambient areas can be another one. So, and when you use the drone, if you see any drone flying more than, that's all result after years of the test. If any drone flying with a magnetometer more than 40-50 centimeter above the ground, I will be very surprised to see anything coming out of it positive, simply because of the brush of the props and then ambient air between the magnetometer and the ground. So the result can be really messy. And in reality, you don't find any flat surface as a landmine like this room that you can fly constantly 50 centimeter or 40 centimeter.
Oops, what did I do? All right.
Yep.
Just to add a few things, I'm Branislav Jovanovic from Citera. Citera have a drone who is flying on a 50 centimeters with the magnetometer and following the ground. Result is great. That means that I disagree with your last facts. But I want to refer to the AI and let's say machine learning and everything.
Just something, I talk about GPR,
Okay.
not magnetometer. Yeah.
Basically for the machine learning or the tools what we are using, the most important thing is operators. That means the people who knows to understand what AI can give. And I think we don't have a lack of the tools at the moment. I think we have a lack of the experienced people who can use it on appropriate way. Because still we are talking about risk mitigations. That means that we'll get some outcome from the machine learning on a one way, but we must use this data what this machine learning give us. This is not something what we need to accept a priori. On that, this is something what will support us to make some decisions or anything else. That means I think it's important to look machine learning as the tool in a whole ecosystem. That means the procedures, trainings, operators, and on the end, this is as one of the tools it's apply on some certain risk area.
Absolutely. Yep. Thanks for your comment. Yeah, with the magnetometer, yeah, you can definitely use possibly GPR. We did the test also, doesn't work. If you know any GPR, we'll be happy to see the result. And yep, this is, as you mentioned, is a tools to be used. I can simplify it. A total station for surveying, full total station can go up to $500,000. If you give a full total station $500,000 to somebody, that this is the best tools for surveying. That person cannot even turn it on without having 5 years or 4 years as a surveying engineering in the university and be graduated with a good marks as well. Then you know that the survey result is good, the outcome is reliable. More or less is the same. However, still I think machine learning has a long way to go. It's in the fast approach, and our point was we need to keep our eyes on it from the ethical and moral perspective, because it can get out of the hand. I give you a sample. We notice some of the result that we have. If you change the design of some certain mine that visibly we detect, if manufacturing does a little bit of changes, that mine become invisible from the eye of the RGB camera. And that's multi-million-dollar business. If you want to look at it, you go from humanitarian to defense. How many of us can resist number of 0 in front of 1? That's a reality.
Any other?
Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Joe Podreski. I work as an advisor in Libya to 3F. Thank you for the good discussion. It's quite interesting also the statements from the audience. And I think the next step, because for us, I mean, in Mine Action as such, I think we still have a lot of questions about AI, the potential of it, the cost effectiveness of it, which is not, for me, clear if it actually saves us time or energy. But I think this discussion would be really beneficial to actually link it with people who are trying to implement on the ground and actually having an independent evaluation of the results that they're receiving in real life. And I know in some countries they are attempting to actually figure out if this works, how it works, and the best practices to do so. So I would really encourage you to actually try to go forward and document what are people actually doing and how is it going.
Absolutely, yeah, that's the right approach. And just to wrap it up quickly is, for example, the system we have, when you want to go and capture the data, there's a drop-down list. There are 160 type of the drones listed there and about 60 type of the sensors there. So you choose. Then it gives you the mission planning, and that's why we could do that, because I'm a drone specialist and drone flight pilot trainer for the heavy-duty drones. So you can choose that stuff. And then cost effectiveness. A good setup of the drone and the sensor, you get a good result. We are talking about easily 250,000 Swiss franc system to give you reliable data with the whole ground stations, drones, and sensors and everything. How cost effective it is, I don't know, looking at the financial of the mine actions. But definitely, it had to be tested and collaborated with the people on the ground directly. Yes, please.
Ejaz from Pakistan, a very insightful presentation. And I think most of the people would agree that the AI should be used in mine action as a support tool rather than a substitution. My question is about the logistical aspects of, bringing these tools and technology in a country where you have a strong import regime in place, where the custom regulations and the local security situations is a huge barrier in that particular area.
Yeah, it become very challenging right now. For example, in Syria, we had the issue to implement it because drone was fine to use some certain type of the drones, but then it become restricted. So you have to work directly with a group. In Pakistan, I've been in Swat Valley before, so I know how restricted can be some certain areas there. You need to work with the regulatory or have the system. One of our system is a drone agnostic. So if you have some certain devices available that approved there, you can use it. This is in the list, you can use it. But difficulties with the regulation is important. We have to take it into consideration. There are a lot of areas you cannot even take any aerial imagery or just go and do the surveying in the land in some countries in Africa, because it can be minerals. You look for landmine, but in reality you're doing some mineral exploration. Yep, that's important.
That's another factor, yeah. Okay, last word, or we can wrap it up? Okay, well, thank you all for coming. Very good, insightful conversation, and yeah, if you want to reach out to us, feel
Yeah, if
free.
you need any other question, can reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you.